Apps. We have them on our mobile devices, on our phone, on our tablets. Those quick little connections to information. It can be your social media, health and fitness, entertainment, shopping, finance. So many of these, though, are for large corporations, global companies that millions of people use every day. But have you considered how your business can benefit with having an app? How it can enhance what you already offer? On this episode of Make a Click, I have with me Dan Hafner. Dan Hafner is a mobile app developer. Now, developer to me, it's like, oh my God, code and all this stuff. I'm just thinking, wow, how do you even get into that? But I want to first talk, Dan, with how, a coach or an expert can enhance their business with a mobile app. Like I say, we're used to the apps on our phone. Oh, we get our social media, we get our banking and everything. So why would a coach or an expert have an app?
It's a good question. First of all, thank you for having me on, Christine. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny when you say mobile app developer, because I've almost kind of considered myself I'm a little bit more than a developer. I really try to be more of a chief technology officer or a partner inside of businesses, right? And I got into this seeing the benefits for coaches, experts, consultants inside of that space to have their own app, really for one of two reasons. And one of the main things I see that it really benefits people with is inside of their fulfillment, right? When we get into being a coach or a consultant, we tend to I did this at first. I took on a lot of one-on-one clients, and I could only scale to a certain level. It was based on my time, right? So being able to put all of your programs, your courses, all that stuff inside of an ongoing piece. Now there's membership sites, there's Kajabi type things. There's all kinds of things out there that you can put your stuff into that allows you to scale your time, right? But in turn, you said it, when you started the show, it's just apps are everywhere, right? We all have these things on our phones. I mean, I myself have like 10 pages of apps on my phone. It provides a really fast and accessible way of accessing your content, right? You don't have to go through. I don't have to find like, oh, what was your Facebook group again, or what was your website, your membership site? Oh, now I got to dig through my email. What was the login? I can't remember. I got to reset my password. It's a pain, right? It's there's so many things that can get in the way. Whereas if you put all of that inside of one click of a button, boom, it's there. I know where it is. I know where to look. I can track it. I can have it there. It's easy, right? So that's really one of the main things that I help people with. The second piece, and this is a little less, it takes a lot more finesse and a lot more, putting things together, but you can use it as a marketing tool, right? I use mine as a marketing tool. You can use it as a lead source. A lot of people put out ebooks, or they put out courses, or they put out, free content or whatever have you, right? You can use your app as a way to capture signups. People, when we all download an app, we expect to, probably have to put in our name and email at the very least to sign up for the app, right? And that can be linked to CRMs. That can be linked to offers. That can be linked to email campaigns, text campaigns, all that kind of stuff, right? So again, that's a little bit more difficult to pull off because it's just a little bit of finesse required. But it is possible, or you can use it, as both a front end marketing piece and a back end fulfillment piece. So those are really the two main ways that an app can really help someone in that space.
Do you have any numbers? I'm a statistics person. Do you have any numbers on, in general, the public using mobile versus apps? I know within email marketing with mine, it'll show me how many people opened on desktop versus mobile. And I'm like, see, they're using the desktop more than mobile. So like, I'm right there with, because on mobile, oh my God, it's like, yes, I like my phone, but there's so much might read something, but I don't do a whole lot on my phone because it's small. As I need the glasses to begin with, then it gets smaller. I know some phones are getting bigger, but even, I mean, it's great on tablets when you can have the apps on a tablet. That I can get into. But do you have any numbers on how we're moving more to mobile versus, because I'm thinking a coach, is going to say, okay, I have this app, I want my clients to use this and everything. Are they going to get pushback? I'm just thinking. Or say,
That's a very good question, and honestly, a lot of it depends on your demographic. A lot of it depends on the actual end users, right? If you work a lot more with people who are kind of on the for lack of a more graceful term, on the older side, right? That tend to be a little bit less tech
be
savvy.
kind, be
I'm
kind.
I'm trying to be as kind as possible, but I'm also trying to make generalizations, right? Um, just by and large, we millennials and Gen Z or whatever is behind me, like we're a lot more versed in technology, like by and large, right? Um, but really overall, we have transitioned as a society. Almost, I think it was anywhere between 55 and 60% of all web traffic is on a mobile device, right?
Mhm.
As a consumer society, we spend, believe it or not, anywhere between 4 and 5 hours inside of apps on our phone
Mm,
per day, right? Now that's a little bit skewing because we tend to spend time inside of. You might have 100 apps on your phone, right? But you really only use a handful of them, right?
mhm,
So it's a little bit harder to crack into that. Like, hey, I'm using Christine's app every single day or multiple times a week, right? But
mhm,
once you're in there, like that is the stickiest form of marketing that there possibly could be. You know what I mean?
mhm.
It's like the dopamine hit, all the different buzzwords around all that, right? Um, but I mean, it's really, really crazy when you think about it, as far as the amount of time that people spend on their phones, the amount of traffic that comes in there, and just one other stat to blow your mind: there are roughly 500 million App Store visitors a year. Like, to have an app that's organically on there, you pay $99 a year to have an app on Apple, right? I mean,
Mhm,
the amount of traffic that generates is mind-boggling. But
mhm.
it's just like SEO. It's just like, a website. You have to make sure that you rank higher and you're after the right keywords and the phrases and stuff. But once you like crack that one code, I mean, you can open up the floodgates. It really is possible.
Wow. What about when a coach is thinking like, okay, so there's thinking, well, maybe this is something that I should use everything. I recall, I think you had said something one time when we were talking about an organization you did an app for, that they found more engagement because they had the app. Is that correct? Or do you have any case studies of clients that you've built apps for, of how it changed their business for them?
Yeah, I mean, there was one where we did regular weekly, meetings, and they had like a regular. Um, I don't remember if it was internal or external. I think it was external. So they had like a group coaching session, right, that they did once a week,
Mhm,
and the engagement was relatively low, even though there were people paying for the access of it. It was done through Zoom. It wasn't even done in the app, right? But what we started doing was using the power of push notifications, right? Where we actually sent out the notifications to people, just like you get on Facebook when Christine goes live in the podcast, right?
mhm,
That change tripled the engagement. It tripled the show up rate. I
mhm,
mean, and that was significant. That was actually really, really significant because it was kind of just like edging along. It's like something that was like, I'm doing this and I'm providing the value and it's part of the offer, but I don't really want to continue to offer it. And so we
mhm,
tried this approach. And again, that wasn't really for sales. That was for people who had already joined the program.
mhm,
Um, but then it's just, I was case study number one for myself inside of the sales and marketing aspect of it. The first ever app I developed was a health and fitness app, right? And I actually grew it to the point where I was getting anywhere. I mean, I had multiple people, um, anywhere from 10 to 50 people a day, downloading and signing up for the app in a like a 70% conversion rate into a low ticket offer. When it was like a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription or something like that, right? I mean, that in itself was transformative because like it was able I was that was all profit after a certain point. It was pure profit. I did zero paid ads, did zero other marketing, just let it grow organically, right? I mean, that, like I said, that really is, once you figure out that code to crack, it's possible.
Okay. What I'm thinking, like, okay, so now having an app, it's one thing. We have websites and we have to maintain them and update the content. And then we got the social media and like, oh my God, now I have to do so much with this. Is this going to add to someone's workload tremendously if I know when you're first developing something, yes, you have to put more time in, but once you have your app going, are we looking at a lot of time that we have to spend putting things into it or making changes?
Well, my answer to you is it depends. It depends on what you want to do. I mean, there are people who we've worked with and set it up and they just set it and forget it. Really, it just runs by itself, right? Now, if you're a creative person, if you're a go-getter, if you're someone who really wants to, you love the changes and the differences and the just the playing around with things and the experimentation, you can go in there and spend hours a week doing it if you want to. And then just another quick note, just in case people don't really get what I'm talking about, like all the apps that we build, it's done inside of a no code builder, right? So you can actually, when she talks about the workload, like you might be thinking like, what am I going to work on, right? But part of it is actually, it's a little bit like if you've ever used ClickFunnels or if you've ever used GoDaddy or Wix or those kind of builders, right? Like WordPress, right? You can actually, there's a lot of templates, there's a lot of plugins. If you can point and click and you can look around and experiment, you can make changes, you can update things, right? But it's funny you mentioned that, because what I've been doing recently is I've noticed with a lot of my clients, they would get into the app, we would do the app, and then they would kind of get to a point where they're like, I don't really know what to do with this, and I don't know how to update it and make it work. So what we ended up doing was building out an entire sister software, which allows you to then manage it all, do all of your funnels, your websites, text messaging, CRM stuff, pipelines, sales, the whole 9 yards. So you can have the entire piece kind of under one roof. Like you can literally move all of your business software under one roof, right? Because that's what I saw. I saw it with myself. I saw it with other clients. They had like all kinds of different software they were trying to duct tape together, and we're just like, what if we just put it under one thing? So again, my answer is it depends. And if that's something that a lot of people don't have time for, a lot of people I work with don't have time for. I was just talking with a lady this morning. She's like, I just want this to work and I want my systems to be in there. And I just want to go out and create. Like, that's what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to coach. I'm meant to create. I want to do that work. Right. And I'm like, awesome. We got a service that we can manage this for you. And we can do it with you. You just message me like, hey, we want this and this and this done, and be like, all right, you got it. So that's another, area of service that I broke into, was like, well, let's just do the technical work for people, because a lot of people don't want to do that stuff. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I hear that all the time. So this sounds wonderful. Got to have an app, get more engagement. And the engagement, I mean, like you say, though, even for the current clients, it really does make a difference. Yes, we want to make more sales, but once you make that sale, if your clients aren't engaged, you're not going to have people, wanting to talk about, hey, this is a great program, you need to do this, because they're not going to be benefiting from it if they're not doing the work. So being able to increase that engagement, that's huge for most coaches. It's great. Yeah, make the sale, but then you want to fulfill it and make sure that everybody fully benefits, or as much as possible. Because that's when you're an entrepreneur and you start signing up for coaching programs and whatnot, the joke is, like, well, how many have you paid for but never completed, or what percentage have you completed? Well, for any type of coaches, to be able to say, look, my clients, they're almost at 99, 100% completion because they're doing the work because of how I have everything structured. And they're showing up. So this sounds really good too, of, okay, let's build an app, no code. It's like, what? Well, but then again, that's kind of like WordPress, no code. Let's get some templates together. And now there's
Yeah.
other applications out there also. It sounds extravagant. It sounds like one of those things that we're going to put on our big wish list of, yeah, someday I'll be able to afford that. What do you say, when somebody really wants it, but we're thinking, it's too pricey? Where do prices range for something like this?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, when I was starting out, I first went down the path of my health and fitness app, and I was like, I'm going to code it. I'm going to figure out how to build it. Right. That lasted about a day because I was like, I took some courses, found out like that's not for me. So I went online. I started booking appointments with agencies, right? Different app agencies out there. You can find them. They're all over the place, right? They were quoting me anywhere between $100,000 and $175,000 for my
Wow.
app. Yeah,
Wow.
it was nuts. It was nuts. So yeah, there are apps out there. Like, you're not going to build the next Facebook for, a couple $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, you get what you
Yeah.
pay for. But that being said, in terms of this, like, I really encourage people to dig into this type of world because it's a lot more affordable than you think. And I've even tried to make it way more affordable than you would probably expect. I've always had people tell me that I should raise my prices. And I say, you know what? Like, there's different tiers. Obviously, if working with me, you can start out very, very low, but then we have also different, higher level ones. But I mean, you really you shouldn't have to shell out an arm and a leg to be able to get this done. If you got a little bit of, a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of tenacity, and like, I can get this done, I can make this work. That's kind of why I started all of this, because it should not be. A lot of people take years to get their idea off the ground. You know what I mean? Like, they literally take so long because they go to Upwork and they hire someone and they put $20,000 into something and they come back and they're like, this isn't what I wanted. Right. So you can really get something up and going a lot cheaper and a lot faster with this and actually go to market. That's what matters, right? As entrepreneurs, like, we want to test ideas. We want to make sales. We want to make things happen. And these types of tools allow you to do that. So, yeah, you can do the sky's the limit, really, is what it is.
No, that's really good. So Dan, do you have something you'd like to offer our audience today?
I do, actually, yeah. So you can actually download a sample app that I have that I run. It's called Mobile Domination. Again, like I mentioned before, it's actually a ploy, right? It's the ploy for going out, downloading the app, seeing all that's there. I have my mastermind in there. I have free content in there. I go live inside of there, podcast, the whole 9 yards. You can see all that's possible inside of there. Plus, I did want to mention something exclusive, breaking news here on the Make It Click podcast, Christine.
What do you have?
So, as I mentioned before, I've been playing with this sister software to be able to merge an app with a back-end system, right? So I'm coming out with something. By the time this is live, so this is getting launched right now. But by the time this comes out on like audio podcast, probably what we're going to have is a brand new software as a service platform that's going to be a very low monthly payment where you can consolidate your whole business into one place. Everything you need, your funnels, your websites, your membership areas, your free content, your paid content, your text messaging, your emails, and an app with that for one low monthly price. Wow. It's insane. It's going to be absolutely nuts. My goal is to launch it. We're taking beta users right now. So if you want to check it out, you can go to dappermobileapps.com and you can book a call with me for free and I'll show it to you. It's super, super cool. And we can take beta users into it right now, but it should be launching towards the end of July. Officially. So that's an exclusive breaking news for you right there, Christine.
Well, my first one. Well, thank you so much for that, Dan. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Listeners, you heard it from Dan. I think you really need to connect with him if you're even have an inkling about having an app in your business. Talk to him, find out how easy it can be for you and how it can really, catapult your business, I think, versus just staying online with the usual websites and whatnot. So Dan, thank you so much for being my guest on this episode of Make It Click.
Thank you.